Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So this is the fifth video of the series, and in this video we will be implementing Active Directory the way organizations and enterprises do. And before we do that, let's just have a look at the design architecture so that we can understand it better. So this is the architecture diagram that I've drawn on draw.io. So let's zoom in and have a look. So if I zoom in here, you can see that this is my, let me just zoom in a bit more. So this is my Active Directory here. This is my Active Directory, and as you can see that we are planning to create organizational units. Couple of organizational units. For example, we are planning to create _admins, _servers, _workstation, _users, _ service accounts, and _groups. So let's have a look at the admins first. So in this organization unit, in this OU, we will be having sub OUs. For example, we will have multiple levels. We will have level 1, which is going to be our help desk user and all the other users. In level 2 is going to be the top level admins, for example the global admin or the break class admin accounts and all that stuff. Similarly, in servers, we are going to have domain controllers. So the Windows Server 2022 that we created, that is going to go under here. So let me just quickly draw this. So I can just do this. So once we are done with this video today, we will have our Windows Server 2022 moved under servers OU, under domain controller sub OU, under that. Okay. Similarly, we will be having member server as well. We will be connecting multiple other devices, we will be connecting here. Similarly, workstations, in this part we will be having multiple workstation groups. For example, I have only planned to create 2 of them now, which is Windows 10 and Linux. So we can have here multiple groups depending on the operating system, depending on which organization do they belong to and all that stuff, which department do they belong to. So we will be having a Windows 10 device, and we will be having Linux here. So similarly, we will be having a OU of users. We will be having HR users listed into one sub OU. Similarly with finance, similarly with IT as well. And we will also have service accounts as well. That's going to be our main OU for service account. Then under main OU, we will be having sub OUs like ADFS, SQL, web apps, legacy apps, and all that stuff. However, this part is a bit interesting. So if you have a look here, we will create a OU called as groups, but then we will have under the OU we will be having groups. So we will create GG-HR users. GG stands for global groups. And similarly with finance, similarly with IT, similarly with workstation local admins, and help desk IT admins. So if you also see here, I've listed that the rectangle boxes with 90-degree angled edge is OUs. The one with soft rounded edge is sub OUs, and the parallelogram here is the groups. So this is what we will be doing today. So let's just get started. First I will work on these, creating these main OUs. Okay, so let's just go back to our Windows 10 device. So we will go to start, then we will type Active Directory. Active Directory and domain services, or users and computers. So after we are into the Active Directory users and computers, this is our organization, this is our corporation. So when I click on it, it shows us built-in containers. Like for example, it has a computer container, it has other containers as well, like for example users and stuff, but it's a best practice not to use these default containers, and that's why we will be creating our own. So I will right click on corp.local, then I will click on new, then I will click on organizational unit, then I will create the unit. The first unit was _admins. And just like that, a OU with _admins has been created. So I'm going to create all the OUs first, which are admins, users, workstations, and all that stuff. Then I'm going to resume the video so that the video doesn't become too repetitive. So I'll see you in 5 minutes. So I have just created all the OUs listed here: admins, servers, workstation, user, groups, and service account. And if you look to the diagram again, so if I have a look at the diagram again, we can see that under these OUs we have sub OUs as well. Okay, so let's create that. So let's start with admin. So admin is going to have level 1 and level 2. So I'm going to create that now. So under admins, I'm going to open this, then I'm going to right click on admin, then new, then OU. So I'm going to type here level 1, or better yet, we can also do tier 0. We can do tier 0 and tier 1 as well, up to us. So all the organization will do it in their own way. I'm going to do it in my own way, which is going to be level 1 and level 2. So level 1 is created. I'm going to right click on admin again, then new, then I'm going to type level 2, something like that. So this is how we create OUs, sub OUs and under OUs. So I'm going to do that for all the other OUs here, then I'm going to resume the video. So as you can see that I have created all the sub OUs, As shown in the architectural diagram, all of them are under here. So if I go into admins, I have level 1 and level 2. Under servers, I have domain controllers and member server. Under workstation, I have Windows 10 and Linux. And under users, I have HR, IT, finance, and similarly. So if your organization also has devices which are running Windows 11, you can just create one more. You can just do new, then Windows 11. The reason why we do this is really important, is for control and visibility. Even though if I don't have Windows 11 devices, I will still create a Windows 11 OU here, because in case if I am not here, so if I am the architecture who is designing this Active Directory, and if I move to a different organization, different team, so if a new architecture comes into my place, he will know what to do. So if anyone would open the Active Directory, right, they would see here, they would see how it is designed, and they would know what to do. So similarly, if the company has a sales team, they can just expand this here. If we dump everything into one OU, or maybe if we dump everything into the default the containers here, that's going to limit the scalability in the future. So this is how we do that. So as you might be wondering, that I have created all the sub OUs except for groups. The reason for that is because groups will have not sub OUs in them, but will actually have a group. So let's create that now. So I'm just going to right click on that, new, then group. Similarly, how it is. And the group type is really important, is going to be security, because we need the security group to be able to assign the licenses and all that stuff. So you might be wondering why we are creating OUs instead of groups. So like we can create groups and we can put people into them, right? But know this, and it's really important that OUs and groups are not the same. Groups are mainly used for limiting the it is mainly used for assigning licenses and removing licenses, granting permissions and all that stuff. And OUs is usually used to manage all the other stuff except that. So I'm going to tell you that a bit more in this video, probably later on. So let's just create a group now. So the first group that we plan to create was GG-HR users. So let's do that. And I'm going to, so group scope is going to be global, and that's why this GG stands for global group. If we were to create a domain local group, then we would have DG, something like this, so that we don't even have to open the group. Just by having a glance at the group, we can say what the scope of the group is. So it's going to make our job of assigning licenses and all that stuff really easy in the future. So this is how one of the group is created, and that looks different from the sub OUs. Okay, so I'm going to create all the groups, then I'm going to resume the video. So I went ahead and created all the groups now, and once the group has been created, we will start adding users. So again, we will start with the admin accounts. So we will have some user accounts in level 1 and some user accounts in level 2. So level 1 accounts will be used for daily admin task, and level 2 accounts is going to be restricted, and for example like break class accounts and global admin accounts and all that stuff. So I'm going to add some users and I'm going to resume the video, but first I'll show you how to add a user into the sub OUs that we have here. So I will click on I will right click on the sub OU, new, then click on users. The first name and the last name we can enter something here, but I'm just going to keep it really simple. I'm just going to type ADM, and the last name is going to be SVRADMIN01. So this can be any name, for example John Citizen, something like that, but I'm just going to keep it really simple for our lab purposes. And the user login name is going to be their logon name for whatever and every reason. So I'll just do ADM hyphen SRV. There's a typo here. Supposed to be SRV. So something like this. So ADM is going to show us that this is an admin account. The reason we are doing this is because this admin, the server admin, will have two accounts. One account will have the email address assigned to it, and they will be using that account to do their daily task, like logging into domain controllers, logging into workstations and all that stuff. This account, however, that we are creating just now, this account is going to be heavily privileged. So this account is not going to be used for emails, like daily browsing of the internet and all that stuff. This account will be heavily monitored, and it will have some form of other two-factor authentication. Most likely it's either going to be a FIDO2 token, a hardware token, or probably something like a password or Microsoft Authenticator app or something like that. So this account is really privileged and it's not going to be used for daily purposes. And I'm going to create a counterpart of this account exactly like this, which is going to be named SRV admin01. It's not going to have that ADM prefix. So that's how we will be able to understand which account that is. So creating separate accounts is really important, and that helps us separate the identities. So the reason for that is, let us suppose that I am a SRV admin, server admin 01. That is my account. And if I want to do some task, like for example, browse the internet, or maybe like join a domain controller to a workstation or something like that, I will be using that account. So in case, that account will still have some permissions, but will not have elevated permissions, like not top of the level, not root level permissions. So in case if my account is breached, that means that the blast radius or the damage area is not going to be whole global wide. So if that account, the other account that we are going to create, the server admin account, gets hacked, they will not have root level privileges or global privileges straight away. And in that case, if I use this account, and if this account gets compromised, that's going to be a really big problem. So the server admin will use their server admin account, server admin01 at corp.local account, for their daily task, and only when they need to do something which requires admin permission, they are going to log out and log back in as this account. So this account is going to be, as I said, heavily restricted. This account we will create a policy in the future, in the upcoming videos, where we will restrict the login of admin accounts into workstations. We will make it so that they are only able to log in on domain controllers to be able to do some stuff. Okay, so since this is a level 1 account, maybe to make it understand better, let me just change this to from level 1 to let's just start over. So I'm just going to delete these two accounts, these two sub OUs. I'm going to delete them. Yeah, because the deleting permissions has been denied. So let me just delete these accounts and let me create an account which says tier 1 or tier 2, or maybe tier 0 or tier 1. That's going to let us understand what this account is used for. Okay, so I'll pause the video and I'll resume the video when that is done. So I went back and checked, and it seems like I had enabled the prevent accident deletion of OUs, and that's why I'm not able to delete it. Even though I am logged in as administrator, you can see that when I try to delete it, it's not allowing me to delete that. So the way we fix this is first we go to, at the top here, we go to view, then we go to advanced features. So once the advanced features is clicked on, we will be able to see a lot more containers. So we will go to our OU that we need to delete. So I'm just going to right click on it, then select properties, then at the top here I will go to object, and once I'm here I will untick this protect object from accidental deletion. I would hit apply, and if I try to delete it now, it should work. So similarly, if I try to delete this, it's not going to work. However, I can right click, go on to properties, object, untick, apply, and that's going to allow me to delete it. Or maybe I can just rename it instead of deleting it. So for our understanding purposes, let's do tier 0. So tier 0 is going to have the admin accounts. The global admin and the other accounts, and similarly tier 1 is going to have the admin accounts which are not privileged, so like it doesn't have the global permissions. So let's start by creating the user in tier 1. So we will create the first counterpart of the server admin. So it's going to be SRV admin 01, and we can just create this SRV admin 01. Okay. So I'm just going to create a temporary password, and if you, let me just write this down as well. So if you see here, this was checked. This was user must change password at next log on. So in a actual organization environment, what usually happens is we, as a system administrator or a help desk administrator, we create a temporary password for a user. For example, we create maybe like sky is blue at 01 or something like that, and we give this temporary password to the user, and once they enter that temporary password and log in for the first time, Windows prompts them to change their password. So this is what was checked on, but since this is a lab environment. I don't need all of that stuff, so I'm just going to click untick on that, and I can just tick on password never expires. So password expiry limit is usually there depending on the organization needs. So if I click on that, the password never expires, and the password stays the same. And similarly, as this implies, it says user cannot change password. If I click on that, they will not be able to change the password, which we don't want. So I'm just going to untick. An account is disabled. This is something pretty interesting. So for example, let us suppose that I have a HR manager which is going to start the work at my organization from next month onwards. So I have all of his details, and there's still 10 days to go for him to start the account. So I'm not just going to create this account and make it active. If I make it active, then I'm increasing the attack surface area for a malicious user. So what I'll do is I will create the account, I will create the users and everything and all that stuff, and I will also tick on account is disabled. If I do that, that means the account is created, but it is disabled. It is not able to log in. So if anyone is able to get a hold of this user account and tries to log in, it will not let them log in because the account is not currently active. So if that's the case, then I will just create this account. 10 days later, when the HR manager is going to start the work, probably at that exact time when he is about to log in, or maybe half an hour before or something, I'm just going to enable the account. So that's how it's usually done in the enterprise environment. So since we need this account to be active straight away, I'm just going to untick that. So next, and the password never expires. That's the logon username. I'm okay with that. I'm just going to finish. So if I go into tier 1 now, I have this user created. Okay. Similarly, I'm going to create a counterpart to this admin here, which is going to be in tier 0. So if I do new, then user is going to ask me for first name. So I'm just going to do something like ADM SRV admin01, and here instead of having SVR admin01, I will have a prefix of ADM in front. So the server admin will have two accounts, as I said before. This account is his privileged account. Okay, so I'm just going to create next. I'm going to untick that. Password never expires, and I'm just going to create a test password here. Then hit next, then finish. So if you see now, I have two accounts, both of them in separate OUs. And the reason why we separate them is because if I want to apply a policy or a group policy object to all the admin accounts, I can just come onto here and use this tier 0 admin account as my base. In case all of them were in admin sub account here, if all of them were listed as here, I would have a really hard time managing the policies and stuff. So that's why we create two sub OUs. So similarly, I'm going to create a lot more users, at least two of them for the demonstration purposes. Then I'm going to resume the video. So I have created a lot of account here. As you can see that I have server admin here in tier 1. In tier 2, I have tier 0, I have the same account but with admin privileges. Okay, similarly I have also created helpless user and helpless user with admin privileges, and I created two of the break glass account. So you can search about the break class account, but I'll just give you a quick rundown of it. So break class accounts are heavily monitored admin accounts which are used only for recovery purposes. So for example, if everything gets locked out, break class account is used to log in and probably correct the mistakes that were done. So we will probably discuss a bit more about break class accounts and other stuff in the future videos. Similarly, in the users OU, I have finance, HR, and IT. In finance, I created 2 users, and in HR, I also created 2 users. In IT, I also created 2 users. Okay, so as you might be aware that these are OUs, these are not listed in the groups. So if I go to groups, these are my groups here, but groups does not have any members in them as of yet. So how we can add? We can either add, so this is my account. Let us suppose that I want to add IT users. I will go right click properties. It's going to open this prompt here, and if I go to members, it says that there is no current member. I can however click add, and then I can search for a specific name. For example, let us suppose that a user named John join us, right? And he is supposed to be the IT admin. So let us suppose his name is John Citizen. So I can just search check names, and once I do that, it's going to show up his name. But since we don't have any user listed as John Citizen, it's showing us name not found. So I'll just type something which I can found, which is HR. So if I type HR, it's going to show us 2 users which has HR name in it. But let us suppose that I don't know who the users are, and I want to add everyone from HR into, everyone from IT into this IT group here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to IT OU. So this is a user OU and this is sub OU of IT. I will select all the users, then I would right click on it, then I would select add to a group, then I can just search the group name. So it's going to be IT, and it's showing me it's not found, so I'll search it with something else like GG or something. Yeah, so we have all the groups here. I can just select IT and click OK and OK. So it's showing us that the user were added to the ID group. And if I go to the group now, we should have all the IT users. So this is one way we can do it. Otherwise you can add it manually. Otherwise there is always the option of adding them through the command prompt, the PowerShell automation. But this is how you usually do it. So I'm just going to add everyone really quickly into the groups. So we don't have anyone in HR, so I'm just going to go to HR, select all of them, right click, add to group, search for the groups, HR, OK, and that's done. And similarly finance, right click, add to group, finance, and that's it. So if I go into groups now, the group should be populated. So finance users in finance, we don't have anyone in here. We have IT in IT and HR in HR. Similarly, for help desk admin, I'm also going to add them to this account. But as you might be aware that we created 2 of the accounts for help desk admin. We have an help desk admin account with some of the admin privileges, and we have the elevated account for administrative task. So I would just go members, add, would select help, and help desk was the only user, so it showed up here. So select OK then, and he belongs to tier 1, so that's great, that's what we want. So apply. So now we have a help desk user, and now we in the local admins we have not created anyone. So yeah, this is how it is. So far we have seen how to create OUs, how to create sub OUs, how to create groups, how to create users, how to add users to groups, and let's see if there is anything left to do. So as per the diagram, we have covered almost everything except we haven't moved the DC01 under the domain controller. So that's what we would do. I would just zoom in here. So if you see under this underscore server underscore in domain controller OU, we have DC01. So the machine that we are currently logged in, this is, let me just change this screen. Yeah, so this machine is DC01. If I just select server manager, then local server, if you see this machine is DC01, so we will move this DC01 under servers under domain controller. Okay, so far there is nothing here. So I'll go back to my organization, then I will click on domain controllers or open that. Here we can see our DC01 sits here. So I'm just going to right click, move, then I'm just going to type, or maybe just browse to the location. So servers, domain controller, then OK. So now we have moved the DC01 under domain controllers. So I think that should be enough for this video. We have covered a lot of stuff. So in the next video we are going to start with other stuff, probably connecting other machines and maybe configuring ADFS servers and other stuff. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.